Our next conversation will surround alcohol responsibilities and how you can stay safe yourself and help to keep others safe as well. This first slide is information about the UAB medical amnesty policy. Again, we've taken out some of the most important pieces of the policy for you. On the left, it says that students are encouraged to make responsible decisions and to seek medical attention in serious or life-threatening situations that result from alcohol consumption. At the bottom, it says that if a student is so intoxicated that they are unable to be awakened, letting that person sleep it off is not a reasonable alternative to getting them the necessary medical help. The purpose of this policy is to get people help when they are in need. Too many times we have seen young people and many fraternity and sorority members be left to sleep off the alcohol they have consumed. And too often, those people have gone to sleep and never woken up. No one at UAB wants that to happen to anyone. So this policy is encouraging you to help people who need help from alcohol intoxication.
On this slide, we have a continuation of the UAB policy and how it works. At the top, it states that if a student is seeking medical attention on behalf of themselves or someone else who is experiencing an alcohol-related emergency, will not be subjected to disciplinary action through UAB student housing or the UAB student code of conduct unless that student has also violated other university policies. What this portion means is that if you call UAB police to help another student, you will not be in trouble if you are also underage drinking. You may be in violation if you were also harming the student or not complying with officers. On the left side, it states what the student must do in order to receive amnesty from the policy violation. One example is to take an alcohol education course or alcohol assessment. If the student chooses not to do what is assigned to them, they may receive additional penalties through the student conduct process. This graphic here shows all of the states in the United States that have enacted statewide medical amnesty laws, often called the 911 Lifeline Law. As you can see, Alabama does have a medical amnesty law.
The next two slides have information regarding Alabama's 911 Lifeline Law. It is very similar to UAB's, but again, we pulled out the most important parts. At the top, it says that if the individual calls for help, even if they were consuming alcohol underage, they will not be prosecuted for possession or underage drinking. At the bottom, it indicates that this also applies to controlled substances. So, if you are also under the influence or in possession of a controlled substance, this law is in place to encourage you to seek help for yourself or others. The second part of this law is all important to understand. In order to receive amnesty from the law, you must do all of these things. Act in good faith that you are the first person to call for help. What this means is that you truly believe you are the first person to call 911. You can't remember to call 911 to take advantage of the law if you already know someone else called 911. You use your own name when contacting authorities. If you are asked to identify yourself, you must do so truthfully. You must also remain with the individual needing medical assistance until help arrives. Make sure to stay with the person in case other needs or issues arise. Remember, you must do all of these things in order to take advantage of the amnesty law in Alabama. If you call for help and do not do all of these things, you could be prosecuted as well. These laws and policies are intended to encourage people to get help for others when they need it.
Some of our organizations also have medical amnesty policies at the national level as well. The next few slides are of the ones we were able to find, but may not include organizations whose policies are not published online. The first two we have here are Delta Sigma Phi and Alpha Sigma Phi.
Next, we have Kappa Delta, Phi Gamma Delta, and Sigma Chi. You'll see that Sigma Chi calls theirs a Good Samaritan policy. They all encourage the same behavior, call for help. If you are a member of these organizations, read through your policy to familiarize yourself with it.
Finally, let's talk about what could be considered an organization event. This is helpful for you to know because you can help lead your chapter to being part of a safe community. These next examples will give you an idea of what might be considered a chapter event, which will be useful for you in your chapter in planning different types of events. If an event is considered risky or a potential violation of policies, these examples are what the university and your headquarters will use to determine if what occurred was a chapter event. Events can be considered organization events if most of the attendees are members of the organization, guests were invited by members of the organization, the event was talked about in a chapter meeting, chapter group chat, or other form of social media, the event was advertised as a chapter event, the event was posted on a chapter calendar, public or private, the event is hosted at a location where members live, the event is being financed by the chapter or by multiple members pooling their money together, officers have prior knowledge of the event, and guests are under the impression that it is associated with the chapter. For example, I'm going to the X fraternity party. If you or your chapter ever has any questions about putting on an event and wanting to do so safely and within the guidelines of UAB and your organization's policies, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're happy to walk you through planning a safe event for everyone. One final slide on organization events. If you're ever confused if something may be considered an organization event, just remember this one thing. If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. What this means is, if most attendees are members of the organization, and all the cars outside belong to members of the organization, and guests think they're going to an event hosted by the organization, it's an organization event.
And finally, thank you for participating and helping us to make the UAB FSL community both fun and safe. Here is our contact information again if you need to reach out to us. Thanks again.